Hey everyone, Boardgame Brody here with Color Field. It's a new tile laying game from 25th Century Games. In this game, players play as artists who are painting abstract pictures of just colors. And in the game, this is done by tiles, and you want to connect your sides of all your tiles with matching colors. But if you look at these tiles, there are 3 or 4 colors on them, and it can be hard to place a tile so that all 4 of the sides are matching with whatever else is on its side. So the game is played over 3 rounds, and you will start the first round by priming the canvas for all players. Each player will have a player board with 6 spots on it for tiles, and in round 1, everyone will receive 6 foundation tiles to place on their board, one at a time from 1 to 6, placing a tile on each space as they are passed out. These tiles might or might not match well with each other, but don't worry because they will be changing as you play through the game. And all these tiles will be placed so that the TP sign has its point faced up. And this will make it so that TP mark is in the bottom right of each tile. After all players have their canvas primed, the palette board is filled with 3 tiles of the matching round face up. So this will be 3 tiles with the 1 on it for the first round. Players will then have a certain amount of turns to complete their paintings depending on which round they are in. In the first round, it gives each player 5 turns before finalizing their painting. And on a turn, you will choose a tile from the palette board or choose a random tile from the pile, not knowing anything that might be on it, so a random tile. And you will place your chosen tile onto any space on your canvas by removing the tile already in that space. The old tile is discarded on your player card, and you now have a new tile. And you can place a tile anywhere, even if not all the colors match on all the edges. When trying to choose which tile you want to choose, you can rotate these tiles so that they face any direction, unlike the beginning tiles that started the round. If you choose a tile and end up not wanting to use it, then you can always discard your newly drawn tile. And this can also be done when you are happy with your canvas and you don't want to swap out any more tiles and you are done, even though there might be some turns left. The goal when changing tiles in this game is to try to match the most colors on edges of tiles, either already on your canvas or to plan to eventually match all the edges. For each matching side of a tile, you will receive 1 point. Now, if a tile has a number 2 or a number 3 printed on it, then when that side is matched up with another tile or with the edge of your board with the same color, instead of scoring 1 point, then you will score its listed 2 or 3 points instead. So it's best to pick new tiles that will match at least 1 edge or more, but it's also not a requirement, and sometimes you will have to just hope to eventually get tiles that will work together after your turns. It's a process. It's not going to be perfect at the beginning. At any time during the game, you can flip over one of your inspiration tokens, one of these here, to help you better match tiles on your canvas. An inspiration token can be used to either rotate 1 paint tile, this can even be the foundation tile that you began the round with, or you can swap the position of any 2 tiles without changing their directions that they point. This will help you to have more options or ways to change your board to get the most points out of it. For the first round, after 5 turns, scoring will then be done by tallying up points for each paint tile. Now you will count out points 1 tile at a time, getting 1 point for each of the tile's edge color that matches the tile beside it or that matches the edge of the canvas board. And now specifically on the edges, the tile only needs to match one of the 2 colors listed. And again, if the number 2 or 3 is shown instead of 1 point for matching, you will score the 2 or 3 points as listed. After scoring each tile, you will then score your largest patch of 1 color. And this is done by counting tiles as 1 element, and each canvas edge that matches as 1 element. And then each element will score you 1 point each. And you will need at least 3 elements of that size to score that bonus. After all players have scored, their canvases are reset, but it depends on what position on the score track you're on to know how to reset your canvas. If you're the first on the score track, then you'll wipe your board completely and start the next round with all new tiles. The player in second gets to keep 1 tile of their choice on their canvas. Third place gets to keep 2 tiles, and fourth place gets 3 tiles to be left on their canvas board to start out for the next round. And this can be tiles that are matched up well already and need less work to change them for the next round. Players will then start the next round, round 2, by priming their canvas board again, filling in empty spaces on their board and making sure that the teepee is pointing up. The palette board is reset with 3 tiles from the round 2 tiles, and the players will then complete their paintings again, but only with 4 turns this round. After 4 turns, scoring is done again, scoring each tile for matching colors on each edge, and then for scoring the largest matching patch. The last round is done with the new players getting to keep certain tiles on where they are on the score track, and then players will have 4 rounds again for the last round, and points are scored for one last time. The player after 3 rounds with the most points wins. With time, you will be ready for the advanced play, which uses community tool cards, and at the start of each round, the top card of the deck is revealed and placed up face up for everyone to see. This card has an effect which will last for only 1 round before being replaced with the next card for the next round. Sometimes these cards will contradict the rules and let you do some fun things. Also, sometimes the card's effect can change your score. And now the last thing in the advanced play is you take 5 inspiration tokens instead of the 3 as normal, and this will give you more options and you'll possibly be able to score even more points doing so. And, well, that's Color Field. It's a tricky tile placement game that is a lot tougher than expected. With only 6 total tiles that you use, you'd think matching sides wouldn't be all that hard, but this game shows that that is not true. As you play the game, you will change 1 tile to match some edges, but then you'll change other edges, and it almost feels like you're going in a circle, and you have to keep on changing one to match better with another, and then you'll change the next one. Unless you plan very well and find a tile that ties up the ends and match all the edges. And that's the trick of this. A good goal that I came up with is to try to get 4 points out of each tile. That is sometimes getting all 4 sides to match, 1 point for each side. But with the 2 or 3 point sides coming out, you can either score extra on some tiles or relax more with others. Of course, you want the most points as possible, but matching tiles is just the beginning, because using the community tool cards, you can take advantage of those effects, and that will help you in slowly making plans to grow your largest color and keeping those tiles from round to round if you can. The game is exactly what you see. It's changing your 6 tiles to better match their edges the best that you can, and you are most likely not going to be able to do that perfectly on each of the 3 rounds, but the better that you can do that, the more points you'll make, and again, it's harder than you might think. This game was a little hard for my kids to figure out at first. It's abstract and maybe too abstract for smaller kids, but it's also not a complex game. My kids are 5 and 7. I think if we keep on playing it, they'll be able to play it without any help. But I think the planning and how it's an abstract game makes it a little hard for them to grasp right out of the box. I also think using the community tool cards is a must, as it adds something exciting and different for each round, and it just makes the game better. Overall, this is a game of small but important changes with tiles that will ultimately determine your score. And it has an excellent catch-up mechanism, and it might even be a part of strategy to keep up but stay behind just a little bit so that you can keep important tiles on your board. Now, it might only work between 2 rounds, but it can be a true strategy that can really help the following round. But it also really helps the player who is in last to catch up and not feel like they are already out of the game. So keep painting with your family and friends in Color Field by 25th Century Games. Again, this is Boardgame Brody, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Stick around and check out some other board game reviews to see what you might want to get to the table.